Hey guys, I think we're live finally. Those tech guys at YouTube sorted me out, so I've done my hair, especially taking the cap off today. So first things first, today we're going to talk about supplements, and I just want to mention before we start that in no way this is endorsed by my current sponsor. They haven't requested me to do this. I wouldn't if they did, as most of you will know. What I'm going to do is run you through the supplements that I'm currently taking. Okay, now obviously I've just switched brands, I've just switched sponsors. So I'm not going to try and angle it on that brand. I'm just going to talk to you in big handfuls of what exactly the supplement is. You can then make your own decision on what brand is best for yourself. Also, just as well, before we start, I'm not going to talk about enhancement supplements today, anything that you can't get legally. That's not my expertise. Those that know me, I'll just come clean about it now. Obviously, I've only been doing that for a year. So although I've learned a hell of a lot in just over a year now about it, and obviously I've done a lot of reading, I'm in no way ready to begin, offering advice on that side of things. If you message me privately, I'm happy to give you my experience or my take on certain things, but in no way is that going to be like recommendations or even suggestions. So today we're just going to focus on supplements in the natural world for both men and women. So yeah, let's. I don't know how many people we've got on live. If you guys, I think there's a panel on the side here. I'm just still getting to grips with that, which you can ask questions. So if you do ask anything there, then that'll help steer today's chat. Otherwise, I'm just gonna freestyle a bit, and get through it. Okay, so obviously from my story recently, you guys saw I switched to EHP Labs. Why have I done that? I've had a few supplement sponsors since I started this journey 2 years ago. And basically, supplements, it's all by and large the same thing. Yeah, quality matters, that sort of stuff. But for myself, I was always looking for a brand who, it's not only about the quality. Obviously, EHP quality is amazing. They're known worldwide. But it's also about what that brand stands for and what it doesn't stand for, okay? So I'm not going to mention names of the previous brands that I worked with, but some of the products that have been involved with some of those brands, I don't agree with. I think they're just utter bullshit. To give you an example, something called lean creatine was actually part of one of the companies I used to work for, and that got some attention on social media, and rightly so, because it's utter shite. There's no such thing as lean creatine. So yeah, it's kind of a journey that you go through to find the right fit for yourself. And now, obviously, having been in it sort of a couple of years now, Alice probably a year ahead of myself. The two of us joining just seemed like the right time to do so, and I hope that this partnership is going to last a long time. I don't want to keep telling my clients or to keep recommending to my clients different names, because that's unprofessional on my part. So I want to grow a long-term relationship with EHP, and obviously for my own personal reasons, I'm going to choose a brand then that I trust and that I want to use for the next X many years, or indefinitely into the future. So again, just to point out, this has nothing to do with EHP. They haven't asked me to do this. It's not an endorsed thing. All the views are definitely my own. They're not those of my sponsor. So let's make a start. So let's start with some of the questions that you guys have sent before I just rattle on here. So your take on BCAAs and how effective they are, really. Okay, so the first thing about BCAAs, guys, is that basically they don't do anything special, okay, apart from increase your daily protein intake. Okay, so there's a lot of crap marketing out there. Fat loss BCAAs, anabolic BCAAs, all this kind of stuff. You need to be able to see through all that bullshit marketing terms. Branched chain amino acids are basically just a broken down, okay, I'm not going to go into too much scientific detail, it's going to bore people to sleep, but it's just a broken down version of protein, okay? So yes, it is absorbed quicker into the body, okay, but compared to whey, if you know, when I've seen the studies that they've done, it's not that much quicker than whey protein. Okay, so it's not like taking BCA is going to really change the your anabolic response after training than regular whey. The advantages of BCA, however, are the fact that you can, because they are absorbed easily and they therefore don't require as much digestive energy. Okay, you can take them during training, which is what I do, like an intra workout. You can take them during cardio in the morning, something like that. And at the end of the day, you know, I'm not afraid to admit this. Sometimes they just help flavor water. Seriously, I mean, most of my clients don't drink enough water. That's something that we always find out when we start. And water intake, fluid intake in the day is hugely important. Okay, I'm not going to get into why and sort of the body holding on to water if it feels like it's not getting enough. I've got a coffee now, so I can have a sip, stop myself going off on a tangent, just actually think where I'm going. So BCAAs. Yeah, like I said, flavoring water is one of the best benefits about them. Okay. The point I make about protein intake, okay, and it's not a joke about flavoring water, like you just need to make sure that you are accounting for all the BCAAs that you take in, okay? You don't want to pay for protein twice. Of all the macronutrients, protein is by far probably the most expensive, okay? So either, obviously meat, whey protein is by, obviously per gram, probably the cheapest you're going to get when it comes to everything, meat, nuts, protein from whatever. Whey protein is the cheapest. But even still, you don't want to be paying for protein twice during the day. You don't want to be forking out for nice cuts of lean meat, have your whey protein, and then go and bang BCA on the top, okay, where you're getting 10 to 20 grams of protein from that, which you aren't accounting for, and therefore you don't need to eat that much meat or have that much whey protein. So just make sure it all fits into your overall macros. The BCA, I guess I've got at the moment. Beyond BCA, I always say BCA, it's BCAA. The reason I like this one, okay, is that the dosage that you see there, I don't know if you guys can actually see, you can probably see a little bit clear there, but it's in reverse. No, I think it's mirrored to me. It's probably right to you guys. What you see there as a dose is actually what you get per scoop, okay? Now, you've got to be careful with these BCAAs and all supplements sometimes. You'll see per serving or whatever, and then you'll find out that a serving is like 3 scoops, and soon a tub is only 20 servings or whatever. So a tub of this beyond BCAA from EHP Lab is 50 servings, okay? And per serving, you're getting 10 grams of BCAA. I don't necessarily want to go into too much science on this, but you're going to get 5 grams of leucine, and it has 3 grams of citrulline malate as well, which is an ingredient you normally find in like a pre-workout or something. So just 1 scoop of that is going to give you all you need. You don't need to load up on that. 10 grams is fine. That's normally, I'll take 10 to 15 grams during training, or 10 grams sometimes whilst doing cardio in the morning. Just 1 point on the cardio in the morning as well. It's important to remember that if you're trying to do fasted cardio, okay, strictly speaking fasted cardio, if you have BCAAs, you're not doing fasted cardio anymore, okay? 1 gram of BCAAs is 1 gram of protein, and 1 gram of protein is 4 calories, okay? So 10 grams of BCAA is 40 calories. All of a sudden, you're not fasting anymore, okay? So it depends on why you're doing your fasting, okay, and whether you're trying to do a strict fast where you don't engage the digestion or the digestive tract or the stomach at all, okay? Some people have various reasons why they want to do that. If that is your motive, then don't take BCAA before you train. It's not a get out of jail free card that you can just have and still claim you're fasting, because you're not. You won't be fasting with 10 grams of protein in your stomach. But if your goal is like myself at the moment, I'm mainly doing cardio in the morning just to get it out the way, okay? Because I normally train 2 to 4 p.m., sometimes a little bit later in the day. So I want to space cardio and weight training out as much as possible, give my body time to recover between the two. And cardio is just a good way, just get it done in the morning, gives you a nice buzz afterwards to take take on to the rest of your day. So that's why I do it. It's not necessarily anything to do with fasted. There's plenty of research out there to say that fasting, doing fasted cardio doesn't have any significant benefits over doing unfasted cardio. Okay, so no other questions just yet in the panel. I'm going to make do with 3 live viewers today, but I appreciate the 3 of you that are on there watching. I encourage you guys, there's no such thing as a stupid question. Please, please ask whatever you want to do with supplements, or, if you're running low on supplement questions, ask whatever else you'd like as well. Otherwise, I'm going to cover off a few other supplements that I'm taking daily. So let's go for a new one as well. Oxy Sleep. Now, I've never taken any kind of sleep-inducing agent or whatever supplement before. Alice ordered this one just as a punt, just to see what it did. Now, I know I'm familiar with the benefits of like ZMA, so zinc, magnesium. That taking those kind of supplements before you go to sleep, they do tend to, at least on paper, scientifically, they have credible claims to aiding sleep. But in my past experience, I've taken tablets of ZMA and not really noticed any difference. This has a few more other active ingredients, which I did some research on in the first day I got it. I looked it up. So it's in my story. It's saved under a highlight called EHP Labs. So if you want to check it out, the details are there. I've also put the links to a few studies, well, not studies, but just sort of credible sources of information where I got my information from on a web page called Healthline, which I'm sure many of you will be aware or have heard of. If you're trying to Google something and you see a Healthline link, then always click that one. This tends to be backed up stuff. So just off the top of my head now, so it's obviously got zinc, it's got magnesium, it's got a few other ingredients as well. So 5-HTP, which is hydroxytryptophan. Again, I'd heard of it before. I did a little research into it. Those facts are up in my story, so check them out. Okay, like passion flower and lemon balm. I didn't look too much into those things, but I did look into valerian root extract and chamomile. Obviously, chamomile is famous chamomile tea, having before bed. That's what a lot of people have done for bloody millennia to induce sleep. Okay, and valerian root as well. Apparently, it's known as nature's Valium, so it does a lot for anxiety and stress relief. And those are 2 conditions which can prevent you falling asleep at night. So all in all, I actually noticed a significant difference with Oxy Sleep the first time. Now, I don't struggle to go to sleep, to fall asleep generally. Sometimes I'm so fucked from training and training twice a day or whatever that I just fall off straight away. Alice's testament, though, is probably a little bit more credible. She does struggle to go to sleep. So normally she says 30 to sometimes 45 minutes to drift off, and she felt like she fell asleep within about 10-15 minutes after taking it. So again, it's not expensive. It's very low calorie per serving. It is 10 calories, so that's negligible. You can add that to any meal plan, not have a problem with that. And I would suggest it. I would recommend it as a punt. Okay, so that's the sleep one. We've done BCAAs. Let's cover the most famous one, that EHP. Now, if you haven't heard of OxyShred, I don't know where you've been over the last 10 or so years, or this is probably one of the most famous fat burners on the market. Now, Alice and I used to use this a long time ago in Australia, and in Australia, it's very big. I'm not so sure how big or how well received EHP is in the UK at the moment. I know it's probably growing. I did see it in a few stores, but I don't know if it's in things like Holland and Barrett yet or something like that. But they do have a UK store, so do check them out. But definitely in Australia, this is very well respected. There are some very big names that use this on a daily basis. I'm not going to mention names here just for validation, but I'll leave that for you guys to determine for yourself. But okay, so it's obviously the second line underneath it is thermogenic fat burner. Okay, so without going into the specifics of OxyShred itself, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about thermogenic fat burners. Without going into the boring science, basically, this is not going to burn fat if you just take it and go and sit on the sofa, okay? Or you're going to take it and you go and watch Netflix for a bit. There's very limited fat burning potential in this unless you are taking it before training. The whole point of thermogenics is basically to increase the body's core temperature, okay? Which kind of increases the metabolism a little bit, increases your operating speed, put it that way. In my experience, fat burners like this tend to work best. In fact, forget that. They do work best when you work hard. They enable you to work a little bit harder, okay? So now I take OxyShred. Well, started taking it now since we've got hold of it, since they've sent it to us in Dubai, every morning before cardio. I wouldn't advise taking it twice a day. I'll stick to one day because it's quite potent. There is a few decent active ingredients in it. I mean, I can leave that. I'll leave the link to that. Or if you guys probably, you can't see, it's too small there. But yeah, I want to just make it clear that you don't take fat burners and expect to see a fat burner result. If you're not in a calorie deficit and you're not working hard anyway, you're not going to see any difference, okay? So, this is what I mean. That's probably not what EHP want me to tell you, but that's true, okay? If you take OxyShred, I guarantee that you're going to push yourself harder during your morning cardio, or you can take it before weight training as well, but like I said, just take it once a day. But it comes down to a little bit of mindset as well. If your mindset's not geared up to push yourself hard during that cardio, if you're doing intervals and just pissing around, at 60% during your effort period, and then your off period in the interval is just completely nothing, then it's not really going to make much difference. Okay, as with all fat burners, the 95, they are literally, at most they are 5%. Okay, the 95% of everything else, training, nutrition, mindset, effort, that needs to be there first before you can expect fat burners to work. Same goes for things like other famous ones like L-carnitine or carnitine. L-carnitine is just a different version or chemical format of carnitine. CLA, and there's a few other sort of popular ones on there, which, some have more credible research than others. Same goes for all fat burners in general, right? The 95% needs to be there first. Do not take it. Do not waste your money buying it, expecting it's just going to make a massive difference when you're not prepared to work hard yourself. You work hard, and it's gonna help you work a little bit harder. That's the main thing, really. Okay, so glutamine as well. Now, I'm not currently taking glutamine, at least right now. It's not my plan with my coach right now. I was taking it almost religiously over lockdown and probably for 6 or so months before that. Again, it's an amino acid, okay? And it is what's known as a conditional essential amino acid. So you've got amino acids break down into whether they're either essential or non-essential. The essential ones the body can't produce on themselves, and the non-essential ones it can. Glutamine is in the middle. It sits across the two. It's a conditional essential amino acid. So typically the body can produce it, but during times of extreme catabolic stress, it can struggle to produce it, okay? So right after training, or obviously throughout training, and then when you finish training, your body's in that catabolic stress period, supplementing with some glutamine can help. And like leucine, it has slightly higher, when I say anabolic, which basically being triggering protein synthesis, it has slightly higher weighting, if you like, over other amino acids. Leucine being the holy grail, that is the number one, and glutamine obviously being conditionally essential. Your body cannot always produce it, so it's a good idea to top up with that. And I normally take that after training, and I was taking about 5 to 10 grams a day. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start using glutamine again, but I'm just going to speak to my coach and just factor that into the overall protein intake, because I don't want to be taking 10 grams of glutamine per day and overdoing it. That's basically 10 more grams of protein per day than I'm currently taking. So we just need to factor that in somewhere else, probably with the food or the whey protein. Speaking of whey protein, they've sent us two. Okay, let's start with the famous one, now Oxy Whey. So this is their bread and butter product, whey protein. It's gone through several iterations since I first started using it. It's really awesome. So 24 grams per serving, very low carbs, only 1 gram. MCT oils, 300 milligrams. And it has some BCAA as well. So that's another thing. If you're going to take BCAA and you're taking a whey protein that has 5.3 grams of BCAA, just make sure, this is why having a coach is an advantage, because we do all this thinking for you. But just make sure that you're not doubling up where you don't need to. But again, it's a bit of a trick, a bit of advertising there. All protein has BCAA in it. Okay, all whey protein has leucine, isoleucine, and valine in it. So, which are the 3 branched chain amino acids. Okay, so first thing to point out about this one. Now, I remember taking this flipping years ago. Maybe 8, even more years ago, and not being very happy with it because it was like paste. So it didn't matter. I mean, the normal amount of water that you would mix with it would just become very thick, and that has definitely changed. So that was probably my last experience of using it, and I wasn't a massive fan, but now it's definitely they've changed that. Okay, so you don't need a lot of water in a shaker. Probably. Let's see if I can show you properly there. Yeah, probably like not even half, just under half per scoop. Okay, that's perfect, depending on what you like. But there's nothing I hate seeing more. I used to see in the gym, people put 1 scoop of protein and then fill a fucking shaker all the way up with water, and they get this like lukewarm, like weak tasting, disgusting. No, you don't need all that water in a shake. Just do it properly. And taste, okay. I was just going to carry on with that rant there and say basically that taste does not matter. All right, this is not a fucking milkshake experience at Milky Lane or wherever you go to get your milkshakes. This is a protein shake. This is a performance supplement that you're taking. But okay, this particular flavor that they sent us, delicious chocolate, is pretty damn incredible. Okay, to the point where I'm making it up, putting it in the fridge, making it a little bit colder, and actually I'm not necking it. I'm actually sipping it and enjoying it. But that point aside, that's just because I really like the flavor of this one. Whatever protein you decide to go for, don't worry about the taste. Okay, it's you're taking it as a performance enhancing supplement, not the true definition of a performance enhancing supplement, obviously. But yeah, you're taking it for performance purposes. Not to give you a nice, warm, fluffy feeling inside, okay? And then the other whey protein that they've sent us as well is a new one that I haven't tried. It's called Isopept. Now, I was surprised actually with this one because I think when Alice checked the website, it's the same price as Oxywhey, which is, I'll tell you why it's surprising. Now, Isopept is a hydrolyzed protein. There's 3 types of whey protein. There's concentrate, isolate, and hydrolyzed. Okay. Now, typically, hydrolyzed has been very expensive in the past, just because it's one more step of manufacturing involved. Hydrolyzed is basically, without the chemical definition, it's basically more broken down than isolate and absorbed quicker. But the price difference has always been a significant jump. There's been concentrate, isolate, and then hydrolyzed is way up there, and the benefit difference between them wasn't equally weighted. Okay, so there was a huge step up in benefit difference between concentrate and isolate, and a small change in price, and then only a very small relative benefit between isolate and hydrolyzed, but a huge change in price. And again, it comes down to marketing. They came, obviously hydrolyzed is the best, so people thought they could get away with charging absolute daylight robbery for it. And from what I don't quote me on this, but Alice did say this. I'm blaming her. She checked the website and they are apparently the same price. So if they're not, then they're probably not too far off if she's misread it or something. But that's good, because that means that hydrolyzed is becoming more popular. Manufacturing costs are coming down. And yes, it is better for you. Hydrolyzed would be best straight after training. You could even take it during training, or whatever, but I would normally suggest like straight BCA is better during training. But yeah, you could take it hydrolyzed, take straight after training, The Oxyway one, that's one that you can use to mix with your oats, or to, people make all sorts of stuff with protein now, bake with it, cook with it, all that kind of stuff throughout the day. That's a better one to take. So if there's any other questions, guys, that you've got, please drop them in the side panel. Let's have a look here, see if there's any questions on Instagram while I've been going. The other supplement I was going to cover was creatine, basically, which is, I get a lot of questions on that. Okay, there's also a question that I missed as well, which I'm going to cover from a client. So let's just tee that up. Okay, so that'll be the next one to cover. So creatine as well. Yes, take creatine. I was just getting carried away there on thinking about the frustration that I feel when people think that creatine is some kind of fucking steroid. You might be surprised. I hope that you are surprised when I say that, but I've been in this industry for a long time now. And back sort of 10, 12 years ago, that sort of period, and before that, whilst at university, creatine was seen as like some sort of like anabolic fucking, shit, that's like basically steroids. You're going to take creatine, your hair is going to fall out, all that kind of stuff. I don't know where the fuck that came from. But again, probably just some misleading crap online. Creatine is probably one of the most safest and not over tested, but one of the most tested supplements in the bloody sports supplement industry. If you do a quick Google of it, you can see there's probably over 20,000 published studies on the use of creatine. It doesn't make your hair fall out at all. There's a few marginal anomalistic, if that's a word, anomaly cases where people have had hair loss, but it's always been down to hereditary, and it's been down to, let's say, some horrific like dosages or whatever. As far as I'm aware, I've read a few studies on it, and I've never seen anything to do with that. Other people talk about kidney stones. That's just utter horseshit. Okay. If you take creatine, it's an osmolyte. Okay, so it draws water from the body into muscle cells. Okay, so if you're not drinking enough water, then you're going to, with all that water being pulled into the muscle cells with the creatine, you are going to deprive the rest of your body of water. But you'd have to be chronically dehydrated before you'd start getting kidney issues, like fucking seriously dehydrated chronically for a long period of time, and then take an extreme amount of creatine, okay, to completely take what little water you have and push it into the muscle cells for you to have any issue down that path. So again, completely ignore that. Hair loss, bullshit. Kidney issues is bullshit. By and large, it's one of the most safest products to take, and effective as well. Okay, it doesn't grow muscle overnight. I touched on this yesterday, and I probably should go into a little bit more detail on it specifically, because creatine turns to creatine phosphate in the body. Okay, which is a phosphate molecule, and your body has different energy systems. And loosely you can say that they operate on, like, let's say 1 to the first couple of seconds of something, of a force being exerted or a movement or like a set or something. Then you've got sort of 3 to sort of 7, 10 seconds. And then you've got another system that kicks in for more longer term endurance. So let's say like once you're running or some sort of cardio effort or whatever. Creatine is the energy system that operates, is the very first one that gets triggered. Okay, so it's your power and your strength. So it's like look at powerlifters. They're only doing, like, let's say 1 or 2 or 3 reps max or something. They are using their ATP system the whole time. So ATP, adenosine triphosphate, 3 phosphate molecules. That's what your body uses as fuel before it uses glucose. Glucose is the next energy system. Before it uses that, it'll use ATP. And ATP, once it's been expended, it becomes ADP. One of the phosphate molecules is lost, so adenosine diphosphate. And what creatine does is, because it turns into creatine phosphate in the body, once it's been digested, it has that extra phosphate molecule, and it basically turns ADP into ATP. So it's like recharging your muscle fuel cells. And you can have that creatine stored in the muscle cells ready to act like a battery, if you like. So that's why it can really increase your performance and your strength noticeably. So you normally take a saturation period because it's about getting that creatine through your digestion and absorbing all of it. So you want to take more than your body's actually your body doesn't necessarily absorb 100% of everything all the time, okay? Not all the time. So that's why they take the saturation period. You normally take, let's say, 5 to 10 grams a day, or even up to 20 grams, depends on your size, obviously, a day for, like, let's say a week. Your body's fully saturated then, and then you can basically top up at the rate that you use it, which is typically 5 to 7 grams a day. I'd say 5 for ladies, 7 for guys, 7 grams a day. And you can split that dose, or you can take it in one, doesn't really matter. So yeah, creatine is a must. There's a lot of studies recently about whether you should, because the old knowledge was that you should cycle it and stay on for 8 weeks and then come on. It's not, but it was all an overcautious approach to something that there wasn't much at the time research on. Now they've done all the research. They can say, I've seen a lot of studies to say that you can basically stay on it indefinitely at that sort of maintenance level of 5 to 7 grams a day. So I would 100% recommend creatine, both men and women. It has no, it's completely indiscriminate. It doesn't make any difference whether you're a male or female. Just take slightly less, obviously, if you're female, and that's not because you're female, that's just because your body is going to be typically slightly smaller. That's it. So it comes down to body weight when you're trying to find your dose. Okay, so let's go another question on the side. If you could only take 3 supplements, what would they be? That's a pretty good question, I guess. I mean, let's try and expand on that. Maybe that's because, like, let's say that you're on a budget and you're looking to invest in the 3 most. Excuse me. See, I'm not going to edit that out. So let's say you're going to invest in the 3 most potent supplements. That's going to give you the most bang for your buck. Okay, so 100% whey protein every time. A good whey isolate, something like Oxy Whey here. Definitely. It's not about what the whey is going to. I mean, whey protein is a great way to increase your protein intake, but it's more about the convenience it's going to give you as well. So you just can't replace it. There's nothing else out there that you can take, which even protein bars are full of other crap as well, fillers and all that sort of stuff. So in terms of convenience and quality and bang for buck and stuff, whey protein is definitely the best one. But there's a lot of people that think whey protein, you've got to take it, and then if you take it, that's going to make a difference. People say, I'm training again now, so I had a break, but now I'm back on. I'm taking my whey protein now. And I'm like, okay, well, and what? It's not necessarily going to do anything unless you're hitting your protein target. So it doesn't matter whether you're taking whey protein or chicken or beef or whatever. If you're not having enough protein, then it's not like whey does anything special. It's worth me pointing that out to you. Again, it's probably not something which you'll find on the EHP website, but it's worth knowing this stuff. At least I feel. Okay, so whey protein number 1. Second one, creatine, definitely. Like I just said to you, one of the most potent thing that's actually going to be proven to work out there. Thirdly, I mean, there's probably vitamins and stuff. I take a lot of daily vitamins. I haven't covered those during this session because, I'm not a qualified nutritionist. So my reasons for taking vitamins are more like an insurance policy. I know I do eat daily greens and some vegetables and stuff like that. And I put those into my clients' plans as well. But I also recommend a multivitamin, like I said, as an insurance policy. I'm not an expert in multivitamins and that sort of stuff, so I won't be commenting or running through those today. I'm taking a lot of things at the moment, like a probiotic, basically like some apple cider vinegar in the morning and lemon juice and some wheatgrass powder, etc., etc. This is all stuff which has been prescribed to me by my coach. So, the third supplement that you're still waiting for. I would say a decent pre-workout you'd be surprised the effect that it can have on you. Even, I mean, the physiological effect is obvious, right? Typically, the biggest active ingredient is caffeine. Okay, so if you don't like caffeine, or if you don't take caffeine at all, then that wouldn't be the best third supplement for you. But most adults are okay with caffeine. So I would say a pre-workout. It's not only, like I said, it's not only the physiological effects. It's also there's a huge placebo effect in it as well. The fact that it's the routine of, like, before you go into training, you take your pre-workout, and that it's kind of like the trigger. Now, obviously, you're going to get the benefits of the caffeine, and in most pre-workouts, like things like beta-alanine and citrulline malate, things which help dilate the blood vessels, basically improve blood flow, improve oxygenation, which improves recovery between sets. There's a host of benefits that you're going to get from it. But it's also, for me, it's like that mental trigger. It's like game time now, taking the pre-workout, and it kind of ups your motivation, just to, like, steps it up a bit. So yeah, I would say 3 best: whey protein, creatine, and a decent pre-workout. Now, a decent pre-workout could, of course, be something like OxyShred, if that's your main goal at the moment. This is going to, like I said, with thermogenic compounds, it's going to heat your body up. You're going to sweat quite a lot. If that's not really your goal at the moment, if you're sort of more bulking or whatever, then yeah, I mean, there's plenty of pre-workouts out there. Which, I mean, look, send me a private message, and I'll recommend a few to you. I'm not going to cover those on here. So, guys, any other random questions just before we finish off here? This wasn't really more of a live with Leppan firing zone session today. This is more just a kind of sensible covering of the supplements that I'm taking at the moment, an opportunity for you guys to ask questions if you have any of the supplements that you want to take or are thinking of taking. As I said before, I'm extremely proud of joining Team EHP, and I'm going to be doing a competition throughout the month of August. So anyone that uses my code throughout the whole month, the code is Warren10, WARREN 10, in case you have difficulties. Anyone who uses that code throughout the month, take a screenshot when you get to the checkout, stick in your story, tag EHP, tag myself, and I'm going to choose one person at the end of the month for a prize of $200 cash, which I'm going to send out, which I'll wire to someone via PayPal. So, and that's out of my own pocket as well. That's just want to get things kick-started here. So yeah, guys, any final questions just before we wrap this up? The topic as well that I was thinking of covering for the next session is, I want to sort of step things up a bit here. Like I said, the initial goal of this podcast is to kind of call out some of the bullshit in the industry, and for no other purpose than to just help steer people away or offer a different perspective, and then you can obviously be the final judge with your opinion. But one thing that does piss me off on Instagram is fake transformation photos, and to no end. And I have fucking given some people both barrels in the comments of their fake transformation photos. And then you get people saying, "Oh, don't hate and don't be a hater." And it's like, it's not being a hater. It's just being honest and being real, because it doesn't really wind me up, because I know it's fake. What winds me up is when other people who are trying to get into this whole journey, or trying to get into this whole process, get misled, get walked down a fucking garden path by some of these pricks who post these fucking, some of them are horrendous. And I'm not gonna name names, okay? I'm not gonna give links to profiles, because I'm not in the habit of trying to bring down anyone else's business. I want to just give a generic, maybe a few things just to look for. I'll decide. I don't know. I'm tempted to use some real examples and maybe just crop out the person's account or something, but just so you can see what a fake transformation looks like. Now, it can either be fake in the terms of the actual numbers. So a lot of people vastly overstate the numbers. Like, we're talking like 16 kilo losses in 12 weeks, when the guy was like, let's say 13-14% body fat before, which is just, you do the math, it doesn't fucking make sense. Someone who is 30% body fat could definitely lose 16 kilos over 12 weeks, 100%, but not if you're fairly lean already. And then the rest of it as well, like even if the numbers are right, then people lie about the duration. So they'll say, oh, this happened in 8 weeks or this happened in 12 weeks. And it's one of the reasons I haven't put a lot of transformations on my own page, because it's, a lot of my clients actually don't want me to. They're doing it for their own personal reasons. They're not there to seek validation from anyone. They don't give a fuck how many likes they get on their transformation or something like that. So a lot of them do say to me, look, it's nothing against you or whatever, but I don't really want you to publish it. And that's fine. I respect that entirely. You do it for yourself, not for anyone else. But also myself, I'm also a bit reluctant to play the game. But unfortunately, that is the nature these days. And a lot of potential clients I lose out on because they will literally look for the transformations rather than give anyone any credibility on any other aspect or whatever. They don't really give a shit about reading someone's website or reading anything like that, or talking to them even, which is what I normally do. They just want to see, look at that massive transformation that they did. They just, they dropped fucking 20 kilos in 12 weeks. So there'll be two aspects to this rant when I do this. It'll be the lying about the numbers, okay, lying about the duration, and then the use of fucking PEDs, okay, for lifestyle clients, and then claiming that they didn't use them. Now, you don't have to fucking actually say in your caption or whatever that you don't have to say as much, but it's so bloody obvious when you, the intention is there. The intention is there to mislead, okay? So it's obvious when you go onto a prep coach's website. You go onto my coach's page, okay, and you'll see the transformations there. Now, he's a prep coach, okay? He does people who do competitions. As far as I know, he does lifestyle clients as well, okay? But there's no mistaking those transformations. I'm not saying everyone is like that. I'm sure there's a few that are natural as well. But that's one end of the spectrum, okay? I don't do that. I do natural clients. And there's a lot of other coaches out there who do natural clients who don't compete, okay? And they don't compete themselves, but then they give their clients anabolics, or they give them like illegal fat burners like Clenbuterol, Winstrol. I forget the name. There's a few others as well. And then they just sort of package it up and portray it in a way that makes you think that, oh, this is achievable naturally. I think this is doing more harm to the industry than good. It's basically, it'll demotivate people. It'll put people off for life because they'll measure their results against that and they'll never come close to it. And let's face it, it fucking pisses people off like me who are doing it entirely naturally. And I'm not going to go down the road of giving my clients enhancements like that because I'm not fucking qualified enough to. I don't think anyone is, unless you've been doing it for many years and have experience with just a huge amount of experience, because it's a big gamble. But anyway, look, we've almost already started on this rant already. I'm going to save this for tomorrow, guys. Thanks for joining for this one. Like I said, remember the EHP competition. Use the code, win $200 cash. You probably think, oh, fuck, well, maybe my odds aren't that good. Typically, I normally, like with RideAway, I normally get somewhere between 15 and 20 code users a month, which is fuck all. So, because my page is still relatively small. So your odds are pretty good. It doesn't matter how much your order is from EHP. If you've used my code, you're entered in. That's all good, and I'll announce the winner at the end of the month. Guys, we'll wrap it up there. Thanks for joining. I'll put one up tomorrow, probably a little bit later tomorrow, probably 12 p.m. Dubai time, 9 a.m. UK time, 6 p.m. I think Sydney time. We'll chat then. Cheers, guys.